Y'all better come my way, okay, and say, y'all better come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day. Peace out, up. Put them in the air, and go rise up. Peace
and
out,
welcome to Jam-Packed. I am your host, Jamila. I am super uber geeked. We have an amazing treat for y'all, a super special guest. He is a storyteller, an author, a podcast producer, and an advocate for the people and their collective power. He is the founder of the Afros Audio Podcast Festival, y'all. And for y'all that don't know, it is a movement and a community for and Black podcast creatives and audio professionals. The third annual virtual podcast festival is going down November 13th to the 14th this year, 2021. All of the info will be in the show notes, but for y'all that need a little bit more, Afros and Audios is a primary mission. Their primary mission is to shift the conversation beyond the issues of diversity, inclusion, limited resources, and industry barriers. As a collective of creatives and professionals, they are change agents for real strategies that will transform the current landscape of the podcast industry. Together, they design and maintain infrastructures of sustainable resources and consistent support. Y'all, it is a 2-day conference that brings together the most progressive, accomplished, and innovative minds of the podcast and tech communities to ask and answer questions that spark ideas and create tangible industry change. Y'all may have seen them covered in the Yahoo Finance and PR Newswire in their announcement of its new membership community network and for and by Black podcast creatives, like I said, as well as for audio professionals. He's also the founder of the Vanguard Podcast Network. The Vanguard Podcast Network is an audio storytelling platform for and about people of Africana diaspora. At their network, all Black lives and stories matter regardless of age, politics, sexual and or gender identities, religion, nationality, you name it, they about it. If there's anything that we've learned in this last decade is how important it is to tell that they realize how important it is to tell our own stories, which is our own voices, and from our own lived experiences by crafting and just disseminating their personal narratives, our personal narratives through audio. We have discovered a freedom that will carry us into 2020 and beyond 2021. We are really the future out here. And so all of that information also will be in the show notes. You don't have to, at VPN, at Vanguard, you don't have to subscribe to single stories or monolithic narratives. And while it's true that they have relatable stories, they are not and can never be the same. Your story is your fingerprint and deserves to be told in your own words. I really love that. I really, really love that, by the way. You may also have known him for his work as an author. He's also a writer, director, producer of the comedy audio series, The Fussings, Until One of Us is Dead. He's also the creator of the forward movement, I Am Affirmation Card Deck. And the I Am is one of the most commanding beliefs that we have. It's a 100% creation with unlimited power and inventiveness. The forward movement acknowledge that the people are whole beings with everyday challenges, human emotions, wants and needs, and a desire to create and produce unapologetically. The forward movement is committed to the progression and expansion and elevation of individuals and communities. Y'all, if you are not as excited as I am right now, speaking all these gems off top in the intro, their mission is to enhance lives through the alignment of thoughts, words, and actions, performance, accountability, and the transformation of limiting beliefs and behaviors. Their specialties are with fear, doubt, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, prioritizing you, intentional goal setting, creative brainstorming, accountability, creative and entrepreneurial project management, creating tangible results. This is for anyone and everyone. The challenges with family conflict, relationship issues, self-esteem, stress, men's issues. there's so much there. And it's for all types of communities. It's masculine identified, it's relationships of all gender identities, LGBTQIA allied creatives, all gender identities, leadership, you name it, they are about it. And it's for individuals, group coaching, couples, family. And he is a dual certified life coach with a focus on supporting creatives, podcast creators, and entrepreneurs. He is the creator, as I said, of Forward Movement Coaching, which is an action-oriented and solution-focused coach client partnership designed to set measurable goals, establish accountability milestones, and develop execution strategies for tangible results and permanent breakthroughs. Y'all, he is a featured member of the Mastermind Connect, which is a men's collective helping you connect with your passions, higher self, and community. Make sure you get his books. He is an author, like I said. Make sure you download the free ebook, Volume 1, Advisor to the Throne, Becoming Royal Minded. And then after you read that, make sure that you support and get his Volume 2, which is out now, available on Amazon. Which is called the Advisor to the Throne, Volume 2, Master Your Royal Minded. And from what I hear, there is a Volume 3 in the works that will be out there. So make sure you're also on the lookout for that. And of course, make sure you get your tickets for the Afros and Audio 3rd Annual Virtual Podcast Festival, November 13th to the 14th, 2021 this year, y'all. Joining us from Jersey City, New Jersey. Folks, I bring to y'all Talib Jasir. Woo!
Appreciate that.
Woo, 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 woo! Wow, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I was like, I got to summarize that.
But it's good. Like, you out here, and you've been out here, and your story, your journey is incredible. And that's why I really love this platform, because you get to share the goodness and all the jewels and connect with folks. And I connected with your journey as well a lot, just because I love helping folks as well. And I can't wait for folks to hear all about you and how you came to be. This was really like, it's almost like doing a book report, and then you finally like get to do the presentation. And so I'm like really geeked that I get to like discuss your journey with you. Like, this is a lot of fun.
Nice. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So again, I appreciate you coming on the show. This is really dope. Especially you've been on podcasts, like you're a part of the podcast. You are the podcast festival, right? Like, you are the gatekeeper, of all of the great podcasts and shows and folks that are in the industry that are out there. You've done Podcast Movement. You've spoken at a lot of different things. And this is really cool that, you're going into the third festival of this. And you're not nervous, really. Like, I love that I think I had heard you say you compare it to like raising like your child, right? Like you trust that all of the parenting that you've done is going towards, that they've listened, that they've learned all these good things, and all of that work went to their betterment. And it's kind of like that. This is your other baby.
Yeah, it really is. But that's not to say I'm not nervous about it every year, every day, every hour. I'm consistently working on adding value to the community, because the community is so valuable, that I think it's up to us as folks who take the helm at certain initiatives to make sure that the quality and excellence comes through, because when that comes through, then people start recognizing their own value and then also sets the bar for elevating the game. Absolutely.
Before I just get so excited and carried away, as I per the usual, a little bit of order of business. Your drink of choice was whiskey. So you went with the Bullet, and I went with the Bushmill. Talib said he was a whiskey guy. So I was like, okay, I gotta put my good foot forward with some whiskey jam. So I got it on ice straight up.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Yeah,
Woo,
right.
cheers. Yep. So that one's like the honey one. So it's supposed to be a little bit smoother, almost like a Jack Daniel's honey, probably. And it does kind of taste very similar to that. I guess it's a more calm Bushmills. So maybe
calm Bushmills is good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I might not get too out there, too wild.
Yeah.
And then so today we're gonna play some Black Card Revoked. So it's only appropriate when you have Afros and Audio Pod Festival that we play a little bit of Black Card Revoked. So we're gonna play some of that shortly. But I want to get into your journey and like your journey and gosh, I'm at a loss for words already. And, I had a lot of fun learning about you before sitting with you. Your earlier years were, you were born in Baltimore. Your parents moved when you were 6 months of age to the Maryland Eastern Shore. And you lived with your grandma.
When my mom and dad decided to split, which wasn't long, they're Scorpio and Capricorn. It was never going to work. But my great grandmother came to get me and my twin sister, and we were raised with her. Until my grandmother's stipulation to her was, you got to go back to school if you want me to raise the twins. And so she went back to school and graduated, and crossed, AKA, I remember me and my sister doing a duck walk and everything with her across the parking lot at 6 years old, and then we went back with my mother, and back and forth. Really no real stability, but it's kind of normal for my family, for grandparents to raise the children. And so it was a lot of going back and forth for that. So it was the best time of my life. It's just, you couldn't always, I didn't always stay in the same school, more than 2 years, something like that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that correction, because in my deep dive, I had heard you say foster care and, 9 months to the year of 8. Okay. So I appreciate that correction though, because if anybody else is doing a deep dive right now on you and they stumble across that information, I'm glad that we cleared that up. Cause because it's very important for accurate information to be out there. And that's why I also love this platform, because I get to hear it from you. I can do a deep dive all day long, but I love that there was that clarification. I really do.
I got to find out where that's at, because that's like not even nowhere in my history.
Okay, good. No, because I will look at my links that I have in my notes, and I'll send that your way for that correction, because I really feel like that's something that people should have corrected,
Absolutely.
You became a dad at 23. And you had been wanting to continue the legacy of going to school and getting a good paying job to support your daughter, which led to becoming an accidental executive with Big Pharma for 16 years. And you had a job, you got laid off because they had lost a client, and that made you examine the life that you had chosen for yourself, working every day, going to a job that you didn't necessarily like, and also leaving your daughter. And you came down to asking yourself what you really wanted to do. Because you had never stopped being a creative or an artist, you just didn't put as much time into that 9 to 5 as you did with that 9 to 5. In that moment for you, knowing that you were really truly a creative at heart, and you were still dedicating your time to a 9 to 5 working for in the big pharma world, what was that moment for you at that time in your life?
At the time in my life, are you talking about when I first started or when I stopped, altogether?
Almost like, what was that real... Because I want to get to the I Am affirmation deck, because I know that has a lot to do with that actual moment. But during that moment, for folks to understand maybe the mental space of where you were at that time in your life, how were you feeling clocking in every day for 16 years?
It's a mind fuck. Am I allowed to say fuck on the show?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Fuck, yes.
Yeah, it's a mind fuck, especially when you have instinct and intuition that this is not life. And you have been socialized a certain way. And I speak in the I, so I'll speak in that way. I realized that the socialization was just so wrong. I mean, every day I was going against my instincts, my intuition, my true self, being scarce. And I think scarce is in the DNA of our socialization, especially as Americans. It gets passed down from generation to generation for obvious reasons. So I'm not critical of the socialization because I get it and I understand it. But at a certain point, you got to get out the way and start to recognize that it doesn't have to be this way. It actually really is a choice. And also discovering, I remember walking home from a job, getting off the train down the World Trade Center and walking to the path and saying to myself, path is New Jersey train, and saying to myself, wow, you belong to everybody but yourself. You're doing this because you're in a supposed to, I need to, and I have to conversation. And it's not supporting you. You're pissed off every damn day. It's all about scarce things. And what if I don't do this, if I don't have this, if it doesn't look this way, what will they say? And then I start realizing that we worry about what people think, and half of them ain't even fucking thinking, you know what I mean? Anything about you, they ain't thinking about themselves, right? So so it was like that moment for me where there were several moments. It's a process. So the first moment was for me to recognize that I was belonging to other people besides myself. And then starting a journey of rectifying that. Took a while longer. But one of the things, I'm very, very close to my daughter. That's my soulmate. And when I did the fussings until one of us is dead, and I debuted it in this venue, it was the first time she leaned over to me and she was like, "I'm proud of you." And though I know she was grateful for the job every day because it provided, that was the first time that there was a difference in her shift in energy of, oh, you're finally doing what you want to do, and finally being who you are. And so that was work I had to recognize for myself, because in our work, we give our young people wings. And I didn't want her struggling with her wings for as long as I did. So I made the change, and I decided what to do different. And so I started writing my books and getting into the world, the coaching, all these things that I wanted to do and had been wanting to do. I started, right then and there. The job took a little bit more process, but I finally got there.
Yeah. Now, the I Am deck cards, they really did catapult a new chapter of life. Mm-hmm. But what made you want to create those life-changing cards that you would eventually need in a very important moment in life?
Well, like I said, and like you already mentioned, I think our I am beliefs are everything. It's our point of innovation and inventiveness, meaning that it's where we get to create the life that we want. It lives inside of that. And I believe that if our I am beliefs or any other beliefs don't serve or support us, then they're also not going to challenge us to do anything different. If I feel like I'm stupid, then I'm just going to be stupid for the rest of I am stupid. It's not going to challenge me to do or be anything different. It's something that I'm settling into. And so those are that is one of the reasons that I decided to create the cards. But just understanding how important it is for a lot of us to shift, because like I said, socialization is a bitch, and we've all been socialized. We've all been educated. We've all been repressed. Whether it worked or not for each of us, it's a different story. but that's kind of the way the world is set up, especially for Black folks. You know, it's a setup of I say it's like an episode of Wipeout. You know, you can get so far and then some punch you in the face and you're down. You know, and it's really up to you to get back up. But this world, I believe, is set up to make us say, I tried, I give up. You know, and so I've had to challenge a few people, including my children, with what if that's what the game is about, for you to give up.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
And so the day that I decided to quit my job and become a consultant, which is another story, but I pulled my cards that morning and went to work, forgot about them in my back pocket. And I'd written my resignation letter when I first got in. My pop-up had just passed away maybe a week before, and I went back to work. And I was sitting there like, I don't give a shit about nothing y'all talking about. Like the status update, what I need to do with the client later on in the day. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't want to be here. And so I wrote my resignation letter, was scared. My daughter was about to go to Howard. And I was like, you know, Howard is one of the most expensive HBCUs on the planet. So if scarcity was going to hit me in the back of the head, it was that time to do it. Right. But around lunchtime, I went to the restroom, again, scared to send in that resignation letter. And I remember the cards in my pocket, and I pulled them out, and it said, I am daring, I'm risk-taking, and I'm open. And I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, either you are or you're not. That's the challenge piece. Because in that moment, I didn't feel any of those things. For years, I hadn't felt any of those ways. And so it was that moment where I decided, you either are or you aren't. And so I went back to my desk and I pushed send, and I dipped off for a 2-hour lunch, you know, because I was still scared, you know. It's like, do it scared, you know. Either way, it was done now, and there wasn't any going back. And those cards were a push because, again, it was the challenge that I needed.
Absolutely. I mean, like that's so dope to create something that eventually is going to be the thing that leads you to really go to your purpose, to lean into your purpose, you know? Yeah, like that's so cool. And, you know, I know that you're more of, you know, you want to be able to help folks, and, you know, and that's when you really became more of like a life coach, correct?
Well, I had become a life coach in 2015. So I this happened in 2017 with the job and moving on from that. But I started that. You know, they talk about hero's journey, and there was a time in my life where I was really at my lowest, one of my lowest points, and it was, again, the universe for me always is working on your behalf, and I feel like whether we know it or not, it's always working on our behalf. So even that long stint at pharma that I didn't necessarily want to do, it supports me in my work today. And so without it, I possibly couldn't do and be on the ground with the big stuff that means something to me. And so I got laid off, started working remotely, which would not have happened if I didn't get laid off. Was getting paid astronomically. So I went and spent some astronomical dollars for becoming a dual certified life coach, so that I could live my life the way I wanted to. And that was my beginning stages of awareness works, being self-aware. Before that point, I say my head was up my ass completely. I wasn't aware of any of my blind spots. I wasn't emotionally intelligent. None of that was there until I began my life coaching certification process. And then it just went from there. I continued on that journey of self-discovery and growth. And it supported me in ways that I say self-awareness is a hell of a drug. You know, once you get clear about who you are, what you want in life, then life becomes different, you know?
Absolutely.
Life becomes different.
Absolutely. I feel that. In 2017, You wrote and produced and directed the Fussings Until One of Us is Dead. By the way, super funny. If anyone's looking for like a funny audio experience, like that's the one. And I was like looking for more. I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. It's that lost art. Like we don't, we weren't included in that back in the day, right? In that in that golden era. And to have that now is so powerful and so beautiful.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is. And for folks that don't know, The Fussings, it was a limited comedy audio series podcast. And the podcast for you was a long deferred dream of creating an audio drama. And at that time in your life, you were being intentional about breaking the spell of self-doubt. Like you said, it's a hell of a drug when you're very intentional and, you're self-aware. The Fussings was a part of a 90-day goal-getting challenge that you waited until the last 21 days to tackle. And in those 3 weeks, you wrote, cast, recorded, and distributed your vision for the podcast, a vision of a podcast. And despite the rushed production of what you felt was rushed, you at times felt like your reckless pursuit of fulfillment was on full display, and you remain proud of the effort and the outcome. And several months later, it was Afros and Audio that was birthed in the desire to discover and encourage other Black audio drama creatives to come out of the shadows. And you believe that people who build communities are often seeking it. However, audio dramas hadn't, like we said, really quite taken off as they have today, especially for Black folks. And you didn't gain the traction that you had hoped for and almost folded. And there was a lesson in that. And today your mission remains that a commitment to community and collaboration. First is the Fussings or any other audio are the Fussings going to come back first, I should say?
Possibly, probably not.
Okay, all right, yeah. I'll take that. Yeah.
I'm working on my main character, who's Michael, Brian Michael Smith, who works on Lone Star 911 and Queen Sugar and all this type of thing. He's one of my close friends, and I actually had to finesse him into reading with the main character, the actress, because I was like, I'm gonna sound like an asshole if I do it. So can you just read it for me? And he's like, sure, I'll help you out. And he read it, and he's like, oh, fuck, this is funny, bro. I'll do it for you. But now he's Hollywood, so so I don't think there can ever be another Reggie Fussin quite like he did it. Yeah. And so it's possible. But I'm working on other productions that, that I'm more passionate about right now. I did that. It was fun. And we get to move on.
I've always been intrigued by audio dramas, even though I haven't done it. I don't even really know where to start, where to jump in. I do VO work. But audio drama has always been like a fun, exciting thing to me. And, years ago, I went to I was in London. I visited BBC radio. I fucking love radio. I love the whole, this is how a sound is made. And this, the door slam and this is how we're going to walk through the dirt. And it's like shoes, just a little
cool
crate. Yeah, it's really cool to be I get really geeked out by stuff like that. But I just never saw myself in it because I didn't think that I was allowed in it and belonged in it. And I feel I love that more folks are starting to do audio dramas and not just being a talking head and just saying whatever the fuck's on your mind, to you, what does community and what does commitment mean to you? What does community mean to you? And what does collaboration mean to you? Because that really was the prelude to Afros and audio. And that now you're on your third festival, which I can't wait to get into, by the way. But yes.
Awesome. I think commitment is what you, me, we're all doing when we are sticking with a thing, sticking with a thing, before it becomes where we think other people are watching, or paying attention or care about it. Really being committed to an idea or a passion project or what have you, and seeing it to the end, wherever that end may be. Right now, I don't know the end of the podcast festival, meaning that I can't fathom how far it'll go and how much bigger it will get. And so for me, there's never a finish line until I'm gone. And the way I envision Afros Audio Podcast Festival is that it carries on whether I'm around or not, because it's community led and driven. And so that piece is very important to me. So I think commitment is just that, being committed to a thing, a person, or whatever. And in my lowest point of my life, when I talked about the hero's journey, I learned the art of being committed but not attached. It's a real game changer in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so however it evolves, I'm here for it, So that for me is what commitment means. Community is, I grew up in community. So I really know what community is. When we talk about my great grandmother on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, it was a farm. It was a farm community. Bubba had hogs at the top of the hill with the nose rings. It was, I could see goats in front of, and little buddy had goats over there in front of my house. We had chickens in the backyard and crops and that sort of thing. And we lived off the water and the land. And so it sounds like I'm, was born in 1820 when I talk about this, but I wasn't. It's just the community, it was the community I grew up in. And because my family, my ancestors were there for so long. And so I know what it means for people to come to the house and have what they have from their farm, bringing it to the house, and we're exchanging it, we're bartering it. I know what it means for my grandmother to go out in the middle of the yard and make a sound. And depending on that sound, a language they've had forever with each other, people come depending on that sound. If it's an alarm, they come for that alarm. If it's friendly, they come for the meal that they're coming to get or what have you. I've seen community in action, and it's love. It's love, it's care, it's compassion. It's not judgment. It's not manipulation or preying on people. It really is simply community, and understand that each of us have our a value inside of it. Yeah. And collaboration is more of that. Collaboration is that I can do a whole lot by myself. I can do a whole lot more with some folks that are in their own wheelhouse and their own truth, and bring that to the table as well. And let's see how far we can go with that.
Yeah, I love that. In around 2018, one of the PWI conglomerates had sent out a call for women of color to submit their podcast for consideration of funding, training, and resources. By the way, have done it like at least 2-3 times. Still get denied every time. Mm-hmm. From your understanding, over 18,000 women had submitted and less than 20 were chosen. At that moment, you had wondered how many women who hadn't been selected stopped working on their podcasts. The rebel in you asked, why do you keep doing this why do we keep doing this to ourselves and wait for opportunities? Give our talents and purpose away to mainstream bidders and allow those who have created barriers to seduce us with the promise of lowering instead of dismantling barriers that are steeped in systemic capitalist racism. And you had a simple rhyme. If it's to be, it's up to me. And that was a rhyme with words that we all must face one day, and that we ever want to experience if we ever want to experience real change in our lifetime. So you decided that Afros and audio was meant for more than your niched vision. Afros and audio was meant for a world of Black creatives that deserve to experience a shift in industry status quo now. And you said, fuck later. And I love that. But for you, I guess, what did you originally have niched for Afros and audio? And
that was the audio drama.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It was just supposed to be exclusively audio drama. And then you saw that need of all of us just kind of waiting for our big shot by these big name folks out here, because we have these idolizations of, we idolize certain folks in this realm, right? In this space. What did you understand when speaking with other podcasters or even audio drama folks that were women in that moment? Like, had they submitted for it? Were they feeling rejected? Like, what was kind of the consensus of what you took from when you were speaking with other women in this space?
Well, I really didn't speak to any of the women who went through that process. I've since met several women who did apply for that. Some were selected and got so far, and then it just kind of fizzled out. Some weren't selected at all. But for me, it was about understanding that, I'm a creative. I've worked hard to be seen and to be heard by the model that has been force-fed to us. In order to get anywhere or to be anything, you must first go through these folks in order to get there. So I understand it. I have a unique understanding to it. I just like most creatives and people who are working on their craft and want to be seen and heard. And so that is what really gave me it was one of the reasons behind Afros and Audio, because we just keep doing it to ourselves, Mm-hmm. And I think I know that it's shifting. That's for sure. It's shifting with us. It's shifting outside of us. There's so much conversation going on around us about folks deciding that is no longer a viable model to keep chasing. And so it's great to see that. I also feel like a lot of, historically for us, we've dealt with folks coming in from the outside looking in and deciding what we want and need, and never talking to us about what we want or need. And that's from our neighborhoods to our industries. And so this was an opportunity for me to get in the middle of it and really start asking folks what they want, what they need. And not only asking for it, but also imploring others to be contributors to their way forward. I'm just a person who was crazy enough to say, let's go. But there's people involved that's going to make it, that's going to help it go, and it's going to keep it going. And that's up to all of us. If it's to be, it's up to me. It's something for all of us to speak into existence.
I feel that. I like that. Is that on the affirmation card, by the way? Is that I think that we need to do a volume 2 of the I am, I am cards. Yeah, no, because like we needed you more than you understood it to be at the time, but then obviously it became more clear for you. But yeah, we needed you, the dual certified life coach in our world, to say, listen, if we can do this. We don't need a big name. And often I feel like even with those big names, they're starting to kind of branch out. They've got their other companies, but they're still bringing up other big name folks. So it's like this whole circle of like continued fuckery in a sense, it's not really lending a hand to that dope podcast that doesn't get that many listens because maybe their marketing, their promotions, maybe isn't all in line. But that's not to take away from the folks that maybe two people consistently listen to,
Yeah.
And I really love that you've stepped into this space and to that role and that responsibility. With folks like, what is it, Black Effects and all of these other networks that are starting to take on other podcasts, what's kind of your take on that whole objective of taking on these bigger name folks, adding them into the mix of their network, and then trying to make their all-star lineup, in a sense, of shows when they're kind of missing out on some really dope shit?
Yeah. Well, I think it all matters, actually. I think it matters because that they become possibility for others. The only issue I have with it is when we wait to create that same opportunity for ourselves. So we still ought to go for bags and opportunities with these conglomerates who are doing it. My only request is that we recognize what it is. It's a game. And most of them are one-track minded, and that one-track mind is very rarely on the people. And so the focus for me is keep going for it. Like, this is not an exclusivity situation. Keep going for it, but also focus up on what can be created, what we can innovate with or without it, because that becomes our measurement of failure when it really is not at all. We base our measurement of success and failure off of people and industries that don't give a shit about us, so they don't have capacity for us. So if they don't have capacity for us, then why would we measure ourselves on such a low vibe? We get to do better and have better while also taking what's out there. We have access to it all. I just hate the waiting game. I just hate the asking for permission or seeing or not seeing ourselves having succeeded or having done anything of value without that look. That's the part that concerns me, especially as we go into 2021 and beyond. We're free people. That means we get to do free things. That means we don't have to ask nobody shit.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at with it. And the goal of the festival is to get as many people in the same room as possible. The goal of the community network is to get as many people in the same room as possible and have these conversations. And then when we have the conversations, we move it forward with action,
Yeah, absolutely. And for folks, like, I was just sitting here just listening. I was like, damn, I'm so happy Talib is here and dropping these gems and jewels on us. And I was thinking, like, I found you via Clubhouse, and then I went to your page and I was like, damn, like, what would I do in life if I hadn't come across your page? I would continue to think that I was this lone ranger in this huge barnyard of hay. I'm trying to be that needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And I love what you're doing. I really, really genuinely do. And for folks that are like, damn, like, I love like the jewels that Talib is like dropping right now. The Vanguard Network, y'all are still taking submissions, correct? So for podcasters out there, are y'all still accepting submissions?
Yeah, that's an ongoing thing. We're looking. So I think one of our responsibilities as podcast creators, as people who work in the podcast industry, across the board, regardless of ethnicity or nationality or gender, sexual identity, podcasting is not a default source of entertainment. It just isn't. It's getting there, but it's not. We still YouTube video people, television people, and so I think one of our responsibilities is to encourage more Black voices, Black lives to enter the space, to share their stories. Because long after we stop trying to monetize and stop trying to, be seen and heard, this audio recording of our lived experiences and our perspective will live on. And I think that's most important. And so one of our responsibilities is, well, I'll speak for myself, a responsibility I hold dear is to get more of us in the market. But not only more of us in the market, but more listeners. And so my big vision for that is that if we get real people to tell their stories, and they're going to get real people to come and listen to their stories, their mama, their daddy, they, cousin, whomever. And now they understand, oh, this is a podcast. Oh, this is what I've been hearing about. Oh, okay. This is lit. I like this, I can take this with me while I'm walking or running or driving or whatever,
Just doing life. Have it in my ear and just doing life. Like that's the beauty of this space that I feel like a lot of folks are still trying to get their minds around. Like, this is like radio on the go. You don't have to wait for your favorite show to come on at a certain time. Like, think of this as like audio DVR. Okay. Like you can listen, do what the fuck you want. It doesn't go away, depending on your hosting, membership or whatever, fees or whatever, but it doesn't technically go away. When it's a podcast, it doesn't go away. And I love that because the message is the same. So whether people are listening to this episode 5-10 years from now, they're hearing these jewels and gems that you're dropping on them. To kind of get back to the earlier stages of Afros and audio, when your vision became clear, like I had said, you had initially wondered what you wanted to do at first, and it became clear. You reached out to one of the hosts from the Mix Company podcast for a quick consult, and you explained your vision, but with only one podcast and no real connection to an already existent community of Black podcast creatives at the time. You were unsure of where your starting point was really going to be. And that host's recommendation was consider creating an event. And to this day, you conceived it as suggesting a 2-hour meetup. But as you left from your less than 30-minute meeting, you made up your mind that it would be a 2-day conference. And for you, it's go hard with intention or do nothing at all. And from that day on, you began planning your inaugural festival. And despite major obstacles, such as limited to no resources, not knowing a thing about speaker engagement or planning a conference of that scale, the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival happened in your community. You felt like it was brilliant, it was innovative and progressive. Black creatives began to find their home, to find their space. For folks that don't know, you actually had a venue pull out after you had it secured for months. Yeah. They had pulled out a month before the inaugural event. Yeah. And for you are, from my research, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong. No, you're on point. But you're the type that you just go into resolution mode. You need results. You go. And it was your twin sister that had sat with you, that told you, like, listen, like, be in this moment and, feel this moment. And, you never really feel those emotions. You just in go mode. And you went to your car and you cried and you had that moment. In that moment, what was your feeling of the festival and how far you had come to that point? Like, what were you feeling in that moment?
Well, it was just one of those moments where it was just one of those oh shit moments. Like, what am I going to do now? And I'm really not having that next thought or idea, but I'm a month and a day, like literally a month and a day is when the venue was pulled. And so again, the universe is always working on our behalf in my belief system. And it ended up being exactly where it was meant to be. So, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just a bad thing on that day. For me, it was the difference determination makes. And again, it's those things that, as a part of the journey, And a lot of times we don't recognize, I say most things that happen, good, bad, or indifferent, or preparation for something that we don't know is coming. It could be a day from that, or 20 years from then. But it's a preparation. And so I was prepared. I was prepared to stay the course. I'd done my work where my ego wasn't the first thing that came up and was like, I got you, bro. Like, no, I don't need you. You know, I don't need the ego here. You know, it was like, fuck this shit. You know, it wasn't about me coming so far. It was about the responsibility. You know, I'd opened my mouth and it was a go. And so there's no way this can't be a go, period. Mm-hmm. There were times before that where my lower self cropped up. You know, I looked in the mirror a couple of times and like, what were you thinking? Like, why did you decide that this was okay to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, again, I'd done my work, so I was prepared. And so I was determined to see this through, period. And so with that, I dealt with it. I worked through those emotions. I got on a call the next day to some folks who had said to me for years and years and years, if you ever need anything from us, we got you. Like, you've done work, you've supported us, you've done our work, you've helped us. And if you ever need anything, we got you. And again, that's another process to even receive stuff like that, to believe a person when they say that. That's a whole other process. And so I was like, you know what? I do remember them saying that, so let me reach out. And I did. And before 3 days later, I was getting a check that would support me with the investment in the next venue, and finishing out what I needed for the festival to carry on and be what it was.
Yeah,
you know.
I love that. Is that when? What's her name? Is it Minister Jazz?
Minister Jazz, yeah, it was her venue. And what's funny about Minister Jazz is that probably 2-3 months before that, I just got an email from this woman who said, where's the festival happening? I told her, and she was like, okay, thanks. And that was it. And we parted ways. And then a week later, someone who was a speaker at the podcast festival reached out and was like, this person wants some speakers, some folks to come through and do this event. Would you be one of the speakers? And so I was like, sure. So I reached out, met with her, and did her event. But also we started talking about having this festival. And she's like, I only got one day. I only got Sunday that we can work. And I was like, nah, I need both days. And and now I know why she said, but, you know, in retrospect, after it was over with, I realized why it's really, the venue was needed for that one day only, but we worked it out.
Yeah.
We worked it out.
Nice.
It was
okay.
It was a shit show, but we worked it out. People who attended would never know the life we had to lead in that, making that happen. But we made it happen. And that's what matters at the end of the day.
That's dope. That's dope. So let's play a little bit of Black Card Revoked.
All right.
So for y'all watching, listening, and again, y'all can watch this on YouTube, youtube.com/JAMPACKED. So we're doing Black Card Revoked. I've got the original flavor first edition pack. And we've picked, because we're virtual, we've remixed the entire game. So we're doing the correct answers. So we're reading our card deck to one another. We're posing a question that we have so that there's no cheatation taking place. So I will go first. I will ask you a question. Yeah, you know, virtual life is very different out here.
It really is. It really is.
Okay, so the first question, which historically Black fraternity was the last to be admitted to the Divine Nine? Was it A, Omega Psi Phi? Was it B, Iota Phi Theta? Was it C, Kappa Alpha Psi? Or D, Phi Beta Sigma? I've learned a lot about fraternities and sororities, by the way, in the last 2 weeks. So I don't know shit about fraternities.
I resist fraternities. So I don't know that I'm gonna guess and say Kappa. I don't fucking know.
Honestly, that would have been my guess too. I'm just gonna be honest.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's the only one I know. So the correct answer for folks wanting to learn stuff about historically Black fraternities, the correct answer is B, Iota Phi Theta.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I've never had the desire to be in a fraternity or sorority. And low-key, I may have put my foot in my mouth. Clearly, that's an issue I have. As a Sagittarius, you're a Scorpio, correct?
Yes, I am.
So yes, so this is what we do. We put our foot in our mouth. So it's only appropriate it would be on the podcast.
and then ruminate about it for
right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't fucking know about fraternities and sororities. Like, fucking give me a break. I'm here to learn,
Word up. But respect and go off fraternities and sororities. That's just not my shtick.
Right. I just want to put that out there. Go off. Yeah. We both want to put that out there. Go off.
Yeah.
I enjoy the stomping and all the dancing. I understand I'm not allowed to use the symbols and the sounds. I understand that.
Yes. Respect. Appreciate y'all.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm next.
Mm-hmm.
They are homegirls living in a 90s kind of world. Do I even have to read this?
I'm glad I got my
Whitley, Jaleesa, Kim, and Freddie. That's A. B. Shireen and Sydney. C. Khadijah, Sinclair, Maxine, and Regine. D. T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili.
You know what it is, Khadijah.
Word.
I really need you. Oh, living single is my shit. It still is my shit. Like for you, what was your show like during the time of like living single? And
well, for me, none of this stuff was in syndication, right? I was waiting every Thursday to watch it.
Right. I feel that. I feel that.
Okay, bad. It's good to have somebody that feels that. Because my daughter, she's up on all of them. The only thing I had to stop her from watching was Not My Mama. I was like, I ain't never seen that before, and I don't like the title. So let's not do that one. Let's not do that one.
I'm gonna have to sit with you on that one.
Yeah.
I know you like 23, 24 right now, but I have to sit with you on this one. This is not the business.
Let's chill. Yeah. So, but I would have to say, A Different World was my shit. Like, I just love Different World. It was really, really good. I was still a teenager, so I wasn't living that young adult life. But again, HBCUs, that became possibility. I ended up going to Coppin State University, which is a HBCU in Baltimore. It just makes you feel good, It's one of those things. So living, I'm sorry. That was my favorite shit. Yeah. Different World.
Different World. I love it. I love me some Freddie, some Cree Summers. Let's see. Okay. Jerome from Martin is a player from the
Himalayas.
Don't even have to say it. Listen, I was very nervous about playing Black Card Revoked. I always feel like my card is ready to be revoked at any given moment, and I'm loving this. Yes, yes, the Himalayas.
The Himalayas. According to Queen Bey, what's the best revenge? Oh, B. I never know how to read that shit. Is it Bey or
Queen B?
Queen B, yes.
Queen B, baby?
Okay, yeah. Slaying. Okay, let me read that again. According to Queen B, what's the best revenge? A, slaying. B, dinner at Red Lobster. C, a mean wig. D, your paper.
I'm going to say slay.
It's actually D, your paper.
Okay, let me drink. Let me drink. I'm over here screaming. I'm like, Queen B. Clearly, I'm not a part of the Beijing Sea, the Yonsei.
Yeah.
I love Queen Bee, but there are certain slangs. I just
Word.
let's see. He's a complicated man and no one understands him but his woman. What was his first name?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
John Shaft.
John, that makes sense.
Nice.
That makes
I'll give you Shaft.
Yeah.
I
Am
like
drinking
that.
off of that? Okay.
No. You don't have to.
Yeah. Appreciate it. I'm already, getting warm because of that.
I don't know if you see my eyes just like, this is, I love this.
Yeah. My sweat glands have activated. So.
Okay.
Oh,
is it your turn? Yeah.
Yeah. A fox, queen, and Smith cleaned up for a living in this movie. A fox, queen, and Smith cleaned up for a living in this movie. A, hoodlum. B, Independence Day. C, Set It Off. D, Juice.
Ooh. Can you say that again? A queen?
A fox, queen, and Smith cleaned up for a living in this movie. A, hoodlum. B, Independence Day. C, Set It Off. D, Juice.
Damn. Hey, y'all listening, really don't judge me, please, okay? This is wow. Wow. Black Card Revoked was not a good idea. I'm gonna say Set It Off.
There you go. Vivica Fox, Queen Latifah, Jada Smith. You got it. Yeah.
I was so nervous. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Let's do what we know. Let's do what we know.
Yeah.
I'm like, were there parts I didn't pay attention to?
Nah,
oh my goodness. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Oh wow. I almost thought I turned okay. Oh, okay. What is Mike Jones's phone number? Is it A, 867-5309? Is it B, 707-606-0842? Is it C, 777-9311? Or D, 281-330-8004?
First of all, it's just too many damn numbers.
It really
my
is.
mind is, I'm done. I was hoping that something in that would register for me, but none of it did.
Right.
So I'm gonna take a drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a drink with you too, because I would not know.
Yeah, my mind is, I'm confuzzled. I don't know nothing. All right. He's the head of the Cash Money Brothers. A, G Money. B, Nino Brown. C, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. D, Big Chris.
God damn. I'm just gonna take my drink now. I'm taking my drink now. What was the answer? I don't even know.
Nino Brown.
Oh, Nino Brown. Of course, Nino Brown.
Yeah.
Damn. Wow.
See, I'm lucky because my daughter's 22, and whenever she's home now, and before that, I get to put her on to these classics. And Nino and New Jack City was one of the last ones we watched together.
Yes.
So then I immediately put on the Martin where he had the dog, the stuffed dog. I immediately put that on afterwards, so we had a good time. Yeah.
I love that they're like really like playing a lot of these old school joints again,
Yeah.
Whether it's Martin or Living Single or old school movies, it's dope.
Yeah. The only thing about the old shows is that they were so not politically correct. So like now there's a lot of cringeworthy shit in there, whether it's transphobia or homophobia, that you deal with, and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that then, and now I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, damn.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Like, I'll just be like, ooh, damn.
Yeah,
like, we were okay with that back then. Shit.
We were. Socialization, you know?
Oh,
it was
man.
crazy. But, you know, luckily now it's, you see it now, you're like, oh, that wasn't cool. I don't like that, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, back then we wasn't batting an eye, you know, we was getting it from all places, you know, all angles.
Yeah. It was like a stronger exterior needed. Like, you know, we're just numb to all of it. It just...
Yeah. Old guard mentality, you know, which is finally dying off, but it still permeates.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. All right. Is it me or you? Because now I've been
yeah. Now it's kicking. Now, welcome to JAMPACKED. The show has begun.
Word.
So in what year did Cash Money Records take over? Was it A? Was it A 2001, 2002? Was it B 1999 to 2000? Was it C 1997 and 98? Or was it D 2004 to 2005?
Shit. I'm gonna go with 1999.
Yes, you got it right. Yes, for the 99.
Yeah. I was like, I know it's in the song, so let me just go with it. All right.
Right. Like, let me think of the song. Let me think about the song.
Yeah. All right, bet. All right. What does TWA stand for?
TWA?
TWA.
Okay.
A, tight wavy afro. B, tailored wavy and all natural. C, treated, washed and all natural. D, teeny weeny afro.
That's amazing. I'm just gonna say A. I don't even know.
Teeny weeny afro. D.
Is it really teeny weeny afro?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my drink. Wow, this is fantastic. I just want to say I'm having a really good time with you. This is dope.
Same.
This is really dope. Let's see. Okay. Who wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing, aka the Negro National Anthem? Was it A, Langston Hughes? Was it B, James Weldon Johnson? Yeah. He's like, you don't even need to tell me the rest. I know my shit.
Yeah.
I know my Africana.
The best parts of going to HBCU when I was younger, in my 20s, I would go to Howard University for their homecomings every year. And when you go to the football game, which now the kids don't even do. My daughter is at Howard University. They don't go nowhere near the football game. So I'm like, what y'all doing? But we used to go to the football game back in my day, and we would sing that instead of the Star Spangled Banner. And it was a really, I mean, if you can imagine this full stadium of Black folks singing this song, and knowing the words, it's quite an experience.
Yeah. That's dope. You know, I went to a liberal arts college, and I've always been curious of, historically Black college. I've had friends, that have gone and all that. So to just hear like different pieces, different stories is always fun. And I have friends that went to HBCUs, but I don't know. I ended up staying in California, and but I always love hearing of the different stories. And we had Doc Miller, who went to Howard as well, and she was talking about kind of her experience and just how she felt with growing up in Compton and then going to a historically Black college, and kind of like the difference of what she felt. Going to the school out there, but it's a whole other social experiment. It really is in a good way. Yeah, I love that the Fussings implemented that. Was
I think it's important. I think it's important that we recognize the spaces that nurture us. Our society, again, it really would love for us to just reach out all the time and live our lives and another with their gaze and their lens. And for me, when my daughter was 4, I moved her to North Carolina. We moved to Durham, North Carolina, which is a Black city, much like DC. I moved from DC to Durham, and then Raleigh, North Carolina, where she was one of in a classroom. And my daughter is one of the coolest people alive, you know. And so around 9, I was like, this ain't her vibe, yo. She's gonna be around people who don't get her, don't understand her. And so it's time to move up north, you know, Jersey, New York area where she was able to thrive. But in that, I put her in the Schaumburg Junior Scholars Program. And Schaumburg is a very famous Black research center here. Mm-hmm. And that's when she got to see peers of hers, Black youth who were like about their shit and smart and wanting and desiring to just have a life and not centering anything but their Blackness. And that really prompted her to go to HBCU, Howard, which was her first choice. It's just something about being around your people for as long as humanly possible, because this world is something else.
Yeah.
But to be able to extend your time around your people, and that's not to say it don't have its shit, because it has its shit. Yeah. But the community and the socialization is everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to find your people, your home, your, you know, and like-minded folks. And again, I really appreciate you doing the Afros Audio Pod Festival, like creating that space. And now you have a community network. Like, that's really dope, because for folks like me, who's all the way on the West Coast, mm-hmm. you know, there's a way to at least network with like-minded folks, connect with like-minded folks in your space. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like, I don't know, like, I know podcasts is kind of like, it's digital, so it's supposed to be like national and universal and all this other beautiful shit. But you still feel very lonely when you're like one of the handful of Black folks that aren't in that space, you know, like mm-hmm. that are in that space that don't have, you know,
community.
Yeah. And community is so important, like you said, and that's it. I'm just like, I feel like I'm like, just, I just want to like take it in. I'm just enjoying this. Because nice. It's, you know, for doing the podcast, you know, for quite some time and taking a break and, you know, like being one of those women that are like, damn, like I feel super discouraged that these big wigs don't want to fuck with me. And I already know I'm very different. I'm different for Black folks. I'm different for gay folks. Like, I'm just the odd person out. Like, I've just always been Jamila, and I've just always embraced that, because I knew I didn't fit in anywhere. Like, I never found like a home, you know, like when I started doing improv, I was like, okay, I think I found my people. You know, you've got to find your tribe, you know, like you do VO or improv. Like I have experience in all that stuff, and I feel at home. And when I talk about Afros Audio Podcast Festival, like I feel at home, you know, speaking with you, and I'm like, yo, like I just can't wait to like just jump in your brain and just.
That's the goal. We had folks like for the first festival, one of our attendees, she said, I've been to New York so many times in my travels. She's a traveler. She's like, this is the first time it's ever felt like home. And that's meaningful, because, you know, if I was a numbers guy, then I would have a measurement of success or failure. Mm-hmm. But what it is about the intention of the space and what we create together, you know, and that feeling of home and space and safety and security. That's what community is for. And if you don't feel safe or secure, or that you can be yourself in all ways, then that's not community, you know? Yeah. And so that's what we, and when I say we, I mean I, and then the we around me, mm-hmm. That's the intention, you know? And so because that's the intention, that's the commitment. So it will be that or nothing at all.
Yeah, I love that your mission is for the people in the betterment of the movement, you know, and that and that you aren't a numbers guy. Like I was the same way. Like when I used to do like PR marketing promotions back in the day for like up and coming artists, I'm like, you can pay me a retainer, maybe not. Like I do this shit for free just because I want to see you do better. I want to give you all the PR training and the media training and do your press releases and do this and that. And it's really about the movement. It's about putting yourself out there for the movement and the betterment of what the bigger mission statement is. Yeah, and I appreciate that you get that, because I feel like it's very in such a, I don't want to say a selfish world, but in a dog eat dog kind of mentality, this lack of community kind of world. It's really beautiful that you've created this space of home and and community for folks that are really feeling like they don't belong somewhere.
Yeah, that's our socialization. We used to be all community, and then the more when integration began, we stopped feeling the need to be together and creating together and creating our business, stuff like that. We became pacified, and then in that pacification, if someone attains something, now I have to keep this, and I have to keep it to myself. And the scarcity that we all have been raised on is that if someone else gets it, then I can't have mine. And that's just no way to live, in my opinion. Yeah. And so I'm just grateful that I had an opportunity that I did to understand and learn community. I'm not special. I just had an opportunity to learn what community looks like. And though I understand business and what it looks like to grow and scale, and that's important as well, because that's also a responsibility to be able to pay our speakers and provide that value. And that's the scalability of the third year and beyond. But last year I gave way more tickets than I sold, because it's more important that you're in the room than it is, what the profit. And I believe in that. And it's not, I was taught that by my great grandma. So it ain't because I'm special. It's because Mama Lena was special. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was that,
I love that you recognize that. And, for folks that don't understand the deep level of dopeness and selflessness, like on your Instagram, you post like tag a podcast, like give a shout out to your podcast. Like you give people that space to do their promotion for their podcast. Like that. If that's not someone that really wants to help the movement and help where we're going as a whole, and I recognize that. And for many, it would just be promotion, this, and this. But you give people that opportunity, even if it's not the time for the podcast festival itself, you still give people a chance to promote themselves every single week. I found myself even saying, yo, where's that post like on Monday, like on Monday morning, like just to like, because I was like, I know I need to do better at communicating and putting myself out there. And you have created this very safe space for folks that are looking to get tickets and all that good stuff. What can they expect in the third annual Afros Audio Podcast Festival?
Well, it's interesting because the first year was inaugural, and then the second year turned out to be inaugural too, because it was virtual, and so it was never the intention for it to be this way, this virtual way. But again, the universe is always working on our behalf. And what I learned is that accessibility matters. And so there are folks who are able to experience the festival virtually where they may not have been, whether it's economics, whether it's the disability, what have you, whether it's, travel, issues or fear, people got agoraphobia out this bitch, you know what I mean? They don't want to leave their house, but they want to experience something. And so, so our goal was to make last year's festival for people to feel like they've been somewhere. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff going on, virtual, Zoom fatigue, all this sort of thing. So how can we make this experience so people can feel like they've been somewhere and they've been with their people, you know? And so that's what we created last year. And because it was another inaugural, there's a lot of learning that comes from that. And so this year is just going to be bigger and blacker and better. You know what I mean? That's it. You know, we'll incorporate some DJs. And last year we had this really dope lunch hour where we had Essence 13 podcast and a chef. They came and they did their we cooked together like over the lunch hour, and we made this beautiful fish and rice and tomato, and so that was like an opportunity for people to get together and learn from these women who are from the continent, but also have a space and time together, and then eat some good food for lunch, you know? So like things like that. I'm a very innovative person. I got ideas for days. And the only thing is I'm one person. And so my goal is just to have, again, just many people of our community to just be a part of this and contribute their own talent. I'm not giving anybody a voice or platform they don't already have. The part is that you decide that you already have it and you bring it to the table. And that's the thing that we're all working through. I had to work through it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Like I really love that you're so giving to the movement, and it really is forward movement. Mm-hmm. You know, you have other Black Podcast Festival folks on panels that you do, you know, like you aren't feeling in competition with folks. And I feel like, I don't know if it's something embedded in Black folks, especially, you know, Black folks, like if we feel like we need to compete with one another, but I really love that you've created a space where it's nurturing and collaborative and community reinforced. I had so many questions and then they just all left. I was like, wow, I just want to enjoy this moment right now. But you know, what would the Talib now say to the Talib that was working for Big Pharma?
You know, I don't know, because, you know, as I said earlier, it was all part of it. You know, Maya Angelou has this book title that says, "Wouldn't Trade Nothing for My Journey Now." And it's all a part of it, you know, from the way that I was raised and reared, the good, the bad, the ugly, to my 20s, stumbling around and, you know, trying to figure things out and trying to figure out love and life, and having those rock bottom moments that, in retrospect, and as you continue on and you continue to choose life, I didn't die. We're everything's all right. You know, we're good.
Right.
You know,
right.
and so for me, sure, I wish I had gained some this ability and this capacity to do things different a long time ago. But if I did, what then? You know, who would I be then? What choices would I have made? And so I don't trade anything for my journey. You know, I would share there's some light at the end of the tunnel, so some days you don't have to feel so fucked up about it. But you know, it's been a good journey.
I love that. I love that so much. I think we have a little bit of time to play maybe one or two more rounds of a little bit of Black Card Revoked.
Okay.
Ooh.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
He ran off on the plug twice, but you might find him at the Ritz-Carlton. A, Gucci Mane. B, Future. C, Yo Gotti. D, Plies. He ran off on the plug twice, but you might find him at the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh my gosh.
Gucci Mane, Future, Yo Gotti, or Plies.
I'm just gonna say Gucci man. I think I'm wrong, but
You are. It's Plies.
you know, a piece of me wanted to say Plies, and I was like, no, like you don't even.
Well, I'm gonna drink with you because had I not seen it in bold letters, I wouldn't have known either. So it's all good.
Wait, can I say something? I was like watching the the way that you were saying it. I was like,
yeah.
Is he giving me the answer right now?
I'm a stoic.
Yeah.
So my poker face
You're
is
good.
on point. Yeah.
Woo,
Yeah.
it sure is. I'm like over here nervous. I'm like reading the bio. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. Let me take my drink. Yeah, I'm like, I know Ritz Carlton, but I don't. Yeah, I was like, that sound familiar, but I don't know.
None of it sounds familiar to me.
Isn't it interesting, like what they feel is like black card revoked worthy?
Yeah, like how the fuck am I supposed to know? No?
Right? Like, I'm just supposed to know this shit?
Yeah,
this black shit that was in the fucking manual that I just didn't read that shit. What the hell?
No, not applies. No, my wife, like, she wrapped both of us on the damn table. You know,
really?
She might have got it, but that's not me. You know, I grew up on Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Right. She's off to the side, like Plies.
Yeah. She's from New York. Her shit just hit different. You know, me, I was having to sing back down memory lane for popsicle and or do Michael Jackson dances. For popsicle. Yeah. With
my ass, I was like, wait, is Master P an option? I was like waiting for you to say like, look at Master P.
Nah.
Oh man, all bad. Who played the character Hustle Man on the sitcom Martin? Was it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like.
Yeah, Hustle Man was funny as hell.
Yeah, he was.
Who was Prince Akeem's silky smooth rival in Coming to America? Emphasis on
man.
Smooth. A, Randy Watson. B, Tommy. C, Cleo McDowell. D, Daryl.
You know, this is so bad because Coming to America 2 is now available.
Right.
Please don't hold this against me, party people. Oh God. I'm like so embarrassed to like even give a guess. Can you give me those options again, please?
Sure I can. I feel like every time I do this, I'm like acting like my grandma. Randy Watson. I'm like Tommy, Cleo McDowell, or Daryl.
Daryl? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, ancestors. Woo. Y'all weren't gonna fail me out here. Oh shit. I was feeling real nervous. Who is Beyonce's biggest fan of all time? Is it A, the Beehive? Wait, there's no answer. Oh, see, I'm sorry. That one snuck in the deck. I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm glad that wasn't like a real question because I was like, I don't fucking know the answer. Yeah. Which character from Martin lived on the fifth floor? Was it A, Roscoe? Was it B, Hustleman? Was it C, Dragonfly Jones? Or was it D, Broman?
Broman.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
On the fifth floor.
Yeah. He's also in that New Jack City episode with the dog. He stole the Walkman. Broman brought it back at the end. But this was after he told Tommy to stay his $2 ass. Before he made change. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I could play Black Card Revoked with you all day long.
It's funny.
Oh my bad. It's your turn, huh? Okay, we could do one more. We could do one more. We'll do
all right.
round.
Who was not a fly girl on In Living Color? A, Jennifer Lopez, B, Tisha Campbell, C, Carrie Ann Inaba, D, Rosie Perez.
Ooh, who was not a fly girl?
Who was not a fly girl? Jennifer Lopez, Tisha Campbell, Carrie Ann Inaba, I could be saying that fucked up, and Rosie Perez.
I'm just gonna say Carrie Ann because I don't know who the hell she is, but watch it be Tisha Campbell or
Because
Rosie Perez.
Tisha Campbell.
Is it Tisha Campbell?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm a drink.
You've never seen Tisha Campbell.
I was like trying to think the process of elimination. I was like, I know J-Lo was it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh shit. Who's poor, black, and maybe even ugly, but dear God, they still here. Yeah. From
Color Purple.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite shits, and like know all the words favorite shit. I actually went to the movies to see it in real time when it came out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was 11 years old, and it was the first movie with all black people in it I'd ever seen in my entire life. So that's why it became my favorite thing ever. And I recently watched it probably about a month ago, and I'm like, okay, you still know the words. This is embarrassing. So I was saying those words while she was.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't recite it too loud.
With all the feelings. You know, because I may be, but I'm here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Oh my goodness. This has been amazing. Like I said, I could really play Black Card Revoked with you all day long. Maybe closer to the festival. I would love to have you back on.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be so dope. You know, we got a lot of things cleared up.
Yeah.
You know, can I just say, I feel like that's never happened to me before, but I feel like it needed to happen to like really fact check some shit out. Like I really do a deep dive. Yeah. And so I want to apologize to you, but I was like, oh wow, like that moment has come.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
Yeah,
where this information came from.
Unless you got an imitation out here, I will double check it, make sure I was listening to the right shit. But listen, they said Eastern Shore of Maryland. I was like, okay, I know that story. I know it's, you know, but
maybe it's the person I was talking to, but they were interjecting that too. I don't know.
It might have been that, it might have been that, but I'll double check. I got to look at one of my many list of links that I researched, but I appreciate you taking the time to hang and to spend, and this has been very exciting because it's like hanging out with like the president of like the Africana podcast club. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you I don't know, like it's just very exciting. And, you know, your journey, is really beautiful, and it really is just beginning. And, you've done so much for the community, for creating community, to the community, the movement, all of that good stuff. This has really been a blast, and I really appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule, out of your Friday night, to hang and have some shenanigans with
shenanigans are everything. You know, this is life right here. So because the weeks can get long and arduous. But you know, it's for me. I'm like I said, I'm one person who had crazy ideas. Just say let's go. But we all have access to any and everything, and to the choices and decisions that creates things. I want to share something. I want you to, if you get a chance to watch it, is a documentary I just watched called Mully, Mully, and it really. It's about a man from Kenya, and one person can create extraordinary results. You know, it really is simply about a choice and decision, because we're all the same. We're all people. And so when we look at people and we think, wow, you really created something amazing. I'm a person just like you. I just made a choice, and we all have access to choices and decisions. And if nothing else, I'm right on the ground with everybody else because we all the same, we all get to create.
Absolutely. I think for, myself as well as folks listening, and a lot of the times I feel like my podcast is very selfish in the sense of like I get to learn. I feel like I'm being selfish because I get to learn so much from your journey and be inspired, and I receive so much of what you've been through to just from what I do know it already off top. And I've learned so much. And for someone myself that's working a regular 9-to-5 job as a project manager, asset manager, whatever, doing the 9-to-5 situation, but my heart is in creativity and in podcasting and all of that good stuff. Like this was really empowering and really encouraging to hear from you and to speak with you. And it wasn't by accident. And I recognize that, this is really
it's been a good time with you too, for real. So I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, usually we do words of wisdom. What would be your words of wisdom for folks? I mean, you've dropped gems from front to back, middle, side to side, everywhere. But in addition to that, do you have any words of wisdom for the folks out there listening?
Absolutely. I consider myself, and this is something I've just reckoned with, a bit of a philosopher. Back in like 2011, 2010, I created this website called Quote My Quotes. And the only stipulation for posting a quote was that you couldn't be famous or dead. And the reason for that is that we all have these intuitions and we're all smart and we all have wisdom. But there's a lot of repression that happens with us. And so I come up with a lot of thoughts and then recognize them as philosophy. And so there's two philosophies I want to share with you guys, and that's your greatness isn't about you. And I say, somewhere someone is waiting for you to realize that. Who you are, the way you show up in this world specifically, there's someone else who's waiting on you specifically to show up so they can come out of the shadows themselves. So our greatness isn't about us. And so the goal is to get out of the way so that then we can be possibility for the next person who's waiting on us, right? The second one is that as we manifest our vision will manifest us. And I spoke about that a bit about the festival. We can't know. We might think we know where we're going and how it's going to turn out. But every time we start anything or create something or put ourselves out there in any way, there's a person that's going to come along that you never knew existed and you're going to meet. There's an opportunity that will be created because of that. And your role will be expanded. Your goal will be elevated. And so the goal is to start. That's how you finish. And so once you start manifesting this vision of yourself, then allow space for the vision to begin manifesting you, because it will.
I love that. Shit. Wow. I feel like we all needed to take a breath on that. Like that was beautiful. That was everything. I feel like my words of wisdom will be, don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to fail. And be crazy enough to start your dream, to start that idea. I think this conversation has taught us so much, inspired so much. Whether it's someone listening, myself, you've sparked that encouraging space of just be crazy enough to follow your heart, follow your dreams. And be crazy enough means be fearless, be strong. You're going to maybe experience a little bit of self-doubt, but get through it. challenge yourselves.
You can confront that. You can confront that doubt after you made the move.
Exactly.
Don't let the doubt stop you. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's nothing some I am affirmation deck cards can't handle.
Word up.
Honestly, like I saw that, I was like, fuck, I need to get those deck of cards because those are awesome. Like I really, really love that deck of cards. And if you have a volume 2, volume 3, let me know as well.
Yeah, I got you. But I'll get it to you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to support, so I'll make sure to purchase it. But it really is surrounding yourself with that positivity, surrounding yourself with like-minded folks, surrounding yourself with folks that encourage you, like Talib, that create that space of love and support, help, community, collaboration, all of that good stuff. So I really appreciate you. I'm, don't tell your wife I'm like geeking out on you right now, but I'll definitely tell my wife. I'll be like, listen, I got a little crush on Talib. Listen, I got a little crush. But honestly, I feel like I get a crush on everybody that's been on the show, and it's
what's up.
Like I love what everybody is doing. Like everyone's fucking killing it, and I love the inspiration. Oh, yeah, well, thank you. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. It's positivity. Collect your evidence. So often we collect evidence of what isn't, and negate all the evidence of what is. So collect that evidence and move forward powerfully.
I feel that
this. You're good. You're doing some good work here. So I enjoyed this.
I feel that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Listen, I got the validation from the president, the principal. I'm excited. Y'all that are listening, make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you support. Make sure you get your tickets for the 3rd annual virtual podcast festival of Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, going down November 13th to the 14th, 2021. Make sure you listen to JAMPACKED. Every Wednesday, we got a new episode. Follow us, follow Talib. I'll have all of his information. You better go to every single fucking link. Follow him on Instagram. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. And they doing big things. They make sure you support and follow everything that they're doing. I know by the time this comes out, like y'all would have already missed out on some stuff. I know you have some stuff coming up. Yeah, like in the next couple weeks or so, but this is coming out like a little bit later. But make sure that you support. Talib is doing so much for y'all, whether you're listening, enjoying the listening experience, or you're a creator. There's so much there. There's so much on the table. And again, I appreciate you. This has been so freaking dope. So amazing. I'm like geeking out. I'm like, just like, oh my God, we have to have you back closer to November.
I'm with it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm going to hit you. Listen, y'all, I'm going to email him like right after this, be like, so when we doing this again? We're going to play some more Black Card Revoked because this was like a lot of great Black knowledge. And I want to, encourage this kind of creation. Y'all, every Wednesday, check out JAMPACKED. Anything else that we need to plug for Afros and Audio?
No. We're I don't know when this is coming out, but we'll be doing our spring virtual series March 24th. We're doing empowerment, not pity, and that's about accessibility and podcasting. So if this comes out after that, it's really important to include our people who are either hearing impaired or visually impaired and other disabilities, visible and invisible. And so you can definitely come to us for those resources. We have an accessibility consultant, and it's important that our podcast content and our creative content is accessible to all of us. We're missing out on folks, and they're missing out on us.
Absolutely. I learned about that accessibility on the web platforms as well as podcasts. So that's really dope that you guys are doing that. So if y'all missed the accessibility course space that y'all are doing, make sure that you go to the Afros and Audio Podcast website, get all of the information, everything that you missed. Talib is constantly doing conversations as well. So make sure that you check those out, whether it be on Clubhouse or on IGTV. Make sure that you check out all of the amazing, dope conversation that's happening and taking place. You definitely want to be a part of it. It is a true movement in every respect. So let's give that love and that support. This has been awesome. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do my outro here. We love y'all. Check out JAMPACKED. Check out Afros and Audio. Get your tickets. Join the community. And we will see you on the next JAMPACKED.
Peace out.